These two guys got the story of these two guys, celebrities, known each other for a long time, had their back through thick and thin, these aging celebrities who now at a point where they're wondering what are they doing with their lives. But enough about us, Martin. Let's talk about this.
I don't know why I didn't see that.
I was like, that's why I was like, is he going to play along? I guess he doesn't know me that well.
In this town, that can all change like that.
Hey! I want to thank you for watching, everybody, ahead of time. And before I start, I have to let you know that this video has been approved and sponsored by AMC Shudder. It is the Netflix of horror.
Oh, I love that moniker.
And if you go to the library of content here on Shudder, you'll see a lot of horror there. But what is that? Take Shelter. That is a science fiction film right there. Maybe your sweet mother, she loves the classics, man. Yeah. You know, and maybe not the horror classics, but the suspense. You got Hitchcock right there. You got some horror type stuff, Psycho and the Birds, but look at that. You got The Man Who Knew Too Much. One of their original shows that is going to be premiering soon is a new creep show.
You gonna tell me what this is all about?
Yes.
That right there is worth the price of Shudder alone.
I'd say so, yeah.
And you can also get Shudder for $5.99 per month.
Perfect.
That comes down to $56.99 a year. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, Apple TV, Xbox One, Amazon Fire TV, Google Chromecast, Roku. Some people say, man, I ain't got none of that. I just got Android devices. Android devices right there is what I see.
Bases.
Try Shudder 30 days for free. Go to shudder.com. Let me spell that for you so you don't get it wrong. SHUDDER, shudder.com, and type in the promo code Double Toasted. And again, this video has been sponsored and approved by AMC Shudder. Thank them and thank you. What is it? Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth. You might know them as Leonardo Dicaprio and Brad Pitt, but in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they are the two aging. Well, at least one is an aging actor who's trying to figure out his next step in life. The other, Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt, is his stunt man, but it's gone beyond being his stunt man. He's pretty much just his chauffeur and maid at this point.
Yeah, it's his paid best friend.
That's his cabana boy right there. Dalton, he kind of hit his prime, man. Now he's wondering, like, all right, am I really gone? Am I has been? Or are there more opportunities in areas? But these areas are where I don't know if I don't know if the great Robert, what's his name? Dalton.
Rick Dalton.
I don't know if the great Rick Dalton wants to sink as low as doing films in Italy. Mm-hmm. You know, them dirty-ass Italians over there.
Spaghetti westerns.
Spaghetti westerns, man. I don't even like spaghetti. I don't even eat that shit. Now you want me to make a western about it? However, that's just a small thing because that is one of the mere stories amidst the backdrop of what they call the golden age of Hollywood. So what's going to happen here? You know, with everything changing, the movie business as we know it, is there still opportunity out there for old Rick Dalton?
Old Rick.
Oh, is there still one last ride for old Rick out there? Will these practically brothers find themselves going on a path that will tear their great friendship apart? Let's go ahead and take a. And second of all, just how's the movie? Itself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a movie here.
How's the ninth movie by Quentin Tarantino? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer, and we'll be back with our review.
I hired you to be an actor, Rick, not a TV cowboy. You're better than that.
Ninth movie by Quentin Tarantino. Some people took this as a national holiday. Some people don't have no job tomorrow because they took the day off. Man, I thought it was Quentin Tarantino. You go hang with Quentin Tarantino because you ain't got no shit here no more.
Yeah, maybe he'll employ you.
Yeah. You know, but I have to tell you, I think we're in the minorities where some of his movies that people consider great, we just don't think the same, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Pulp Fiction is a genius. I would say it's a genius movie. I think it might be one of the. No, I mean it's in my top 2 of favorite all-time movies, and it's a once in a lifetime thing. I had hoped that it was the beginning of more of those, but hey man, they can't all be that. And I'm not gonna look at everything he does and go like, I know, man, but he made Pulp Fiction. It's like, no, we're looking at what he's doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're not looking at everything to be Pulp Fiction. That is a once in a lifetime movie, even for the director that made it.
Yeah.
This is more style over the gimmicky things that he would do. This is something where he's gone back and they would say his least violent film. Or in the trailer for this, you have other things that are popping up, which have nothing really to do with movies. Like at the time, you had the Charles Manson, and his cult making big news. Also, as you said, television was something that was seemed to be kind of in line with film. TV knew its place. Movies knew their place, and they were both great, and then cross paths to confuse anything. It was a lot happened at the time in 1969, but specifically with cinema in this movie, the Manson cult. I'm gonna tell you what I really love about this. I think that the best part of the movie is Leonardo Dicaprio and Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Their friendship is the heart of the movie. They're like Batman and Alfred, if Alfred did all the work. and Batman still took the credit.
If Batman had a fragile ego and needed to have all the credit, and Alfred's just like, hey man, I'm just happy to hang out.
I'm just happy.
I don't need the adoration.
I'll take care of this shit for you. And I don't need nothing. You just sit your little bitch ass over there and keep crying. But but was genuinely a friend to him. Yeah, the paths that their lives are on, you really do understand that. Yeah, man, they have to be good friends.
Yeah.
And what's more interesting is the figures that Quentin Tarantino based these two on. Have you heard about this?
No.
Brad Pitt is actually based on a real life badass stuntman. Hal Needham, man.
Oh, Hal Needham.
Yeah,
okay.
Hal Needham. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hal Needham.
Worked with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the relationship that you see in the movie is Burt Reynolds.
Oh.
And Hal Needham, man.
Oh, shit.
Kind of makes sense now, huh?
Now, okay, that makes me want to go back and rewatch it just with that in mind the whole time.
Some people looking at that picture like, damn, you sure that ain't Adam West right there? Damn, that's Batman. No,
Hal Needham was a badass.
Hal Needham was a real life Batman. This dude, he had this big long relationship with Burt Reynolds, man. That's why, because he directed movies with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Smoking the Bandit was with Burt Reynolds was directed by his best friend.
From Georgia to Texas and back.
I'll be driving this one. Yeah, blocker. You'll be driving the truck. This is Bandit 1.
One racist ass car. Got that Confederate flag just up front, so everybody sees
just
that
so
shit.
you know.
Just so you know. But that guy, I'm showing a little bit of that because it has a lot to do with the character Brad Pitt in the movie. I'll explain why in a little bit. As you saw, there's a lot of stunts in that movie, Smoking the Bandit. It's a lot of stunts because that's what Hal Needham did, man.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't give a fuck about an Oscar, man. I do stunts, and now that I'm directing, I'm just gonna crash a bunch of shit. I'm gonna jump from stuff, and people gonna jump from things. This man right here, he jumped on a moving. I was reading about him today. He jumped on a moving stagecoach at 30 feet in the air.
Jeez.
He broke bones like 58 times in his career. Now, mate, this shit might be a lie. Man, he broke 58 bones in his lifetime.
Well, Evel Knievel would do that too.
Man, he killed 3 grizzly bears with one stroke. Brad Pitt in the movie reflects that so much, man. Brad Pitt in the film. That's why you love him. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because look, he has what any kind of character who's a cool guy needs, is that whole kind of I don't really give a shit attitude.
Yep.
And he's got that, and we know he's competent. I mean, he's a stunt man. We see him do some things that are pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Some things where you go like, all right, come on now.
Yeah.
But he's real cool about it. He ain't looking for applause.
Well, that's why you love Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt he's a modest version of the character that he's playing. And you would be privileged to get an ass beaten from him.
Right.
Because he does it with a smile. It's service with a smile. And it's he's the best friend that everybody wants. Because he's better than you in every kind of way, but he's okay with that.
Well, and
you're okay with that.
And you can be at your bitchiest, and he never calls you on it. Always has your back. Always, hey, you in trouble? Just give me a call. I'll show up. I ain't gonna complain.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna hold it over your head.
And nothing is too small for him.
Yeah.
Hey, go fix my cable. Okay.
All right.
I could beat the shit out of you, but I like you, man.
Yeah.
You're a friend. I'm gonna do it. He's the guy that is so much better than you in every other kind of way, but you have the privilege of saying, man, that's my best friend. He's the living embodiment of the Hollywood tough guy.
Yeah.
In the movie, he is within the movie, he's the real life leading man.
Mm-hmm.
But also from that period, I like what they've done with it. Quentin Tarantino wrote that well because he's a reflection of what people saw as a real tough guy, a guy who's real cool, doesn't say anything, and what he does mostly have to say, if he has to get loud, he does it with his fist.
And it is funny because Rick Dalton. Brad Pitt is the kind of characters that Rick Dalton plays in the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He's that for real.
But he is that for real, man. Quentin Tarantino, he wrote it to where being that badass has a price. Mm-hmm. Because he's probably a tough guy to a fault. It's affected his career. It's affected his social standing. And you don't. I think it's amazing how Quentin Tarantino wrote it to where you gradually get that bit of information, because characters talk about this guy and you constantly wonder, like, okay, how did this guy fuck up so bad, man, that people don't want to be around a true badass like that?
A very charismatic guy.
Randy.
I don't dig him. And I don't dig the vibe he brings on a set.
Yeah, you go out there and tell him that. Hey, Cliff, Kurt Russell got something he want to say to you. Yeah?
I wasn't saying. I was just saying how
you're hired.
Yeah, we got another spot for you.
It's them together, man. Him and Leonardo Dicaprio together that are so great. Because Leo, he's great in this too. If you notice, one of the things that I admire here, because I still don't know if it's something that they intended for us to see, or if it's just part of the cadence of him delivering his lines. But I like how they kind of hint that Rick Dalton might have a stutter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a way,
yeah.
But it's not. They don't play it up for laughs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slightly there.
Well, it only comes out when he's Rick Dalton, but when he's acting, it's not there.
And I thought that was amazing, man. I'm telling you, these are two great performances. And these guys work well together. Now on the flip side, Leonardo DiCaprio as Rick Dalton in the movie, he's somebody that you would want as a friend, because he's the guy that is always fucking up, and
you always look good when you're next to him.
You always look good when you're next to him.
But he's got those connections that can get you into the Hollywood party.
Everybody likes him though, even though he constantly fucks up, and it makes you look good saying, "Let me go get my friend, man." Yeah. He makes you look good. Nobody hates this guy, but everybody's just kind of tired of his shit. And the only reason he gets by is because you have the privilege of knowing that, I'm always cleaning up things for him. And together, these guys are perfect. This is a character that you should really hate. I mean, this is a guy that's so full of himself, self-centered. You can almost tell by the friendship. It's kind of a one-sided friendship in a way. You really shouldn't like this guy, but Quentin Tarantino does a great job at making him sympathetic and making him funny. He's kind of the butt of a joke in a way.
Well, he's an actor, and actors do, they have they can be kind of fragile, which I get, because they're constantly having to go to auditions and get told no.
Yep,
and having their sense of self beat down and always feeling insecure. But the reason what stops you from hating him is that he's so vulnerable.
Yeah, as you can see, because I mean, that's the only thing that's really made for laughs with his character, and it works. Is when those little temper tantrums that he throws, those things are hilarious, man.
Embarrass yourself like that in front of all those goddamn people.
Maybe I can relate to, how do I start out the show? With my goddamn audio equipment. I didn't do it.
I'm real glad I don't have to point that out.
I see it.
Okay, all right.
I know it. Cliff Booth over here.
Oh man, it's cool. You're gonna be all right. Hey, don't forget, you're Corey Coleman.
Right. They balance each other out as characters, but also because they're the closest thing that we have to a cohesive story.
Yes.
In the movie.
Yes.
And
even that's fighting it.
Yeah, I mean, because it's barely there. But the other thing that's really good about it is that it's subtle. These are brothers taking care of each other, man, one way or another. I mean, he's taking care of Cliff Booth, even though he doesn't have the money that he does. He's taking care of him, and this guy's, as you can see in that scene with Kurt Russell, he's always trying to get his back and take care of him. Also, man, take care of my house while I'm gone. Get what you want. And if there's any solid story to this, it's theirs, because it's about the events that lead up to their lives about to take probably a different path.
It's kind of all over the place, and you sort of get that as the story by default, or just because it's like, well, that's what's been the most consistent or developed.
Yeah, and
in pieces.
And this is where we're gonna start getting to the criticism of the film. I will say a couple other things going to a Quentin Tarantino area. Before I go into any kind of deep criticism, a lot of you will be happy to know that there are no M-bombs dropped in here at all.
None. Zero.
Yeah, there are no niggas in Hollywood. In fact, literally, there are no black people in this movie. It's almost like Quentin Tarantino said, well, shit, if I can't say nigga, then I ain't gonna put none in the movie at all. I'll show you.
But none of y'all are hired. Oh man.
There's one blurry ass black dude in the background, and that is that.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not even complaining about it. That's
really
no. I mean, the story that he's telling, I'm not. That's fine. I'm not saying this, it's required that he put people of color in there. He's talking about a certain part of Hollywood that appeals to him. Tell your story, man. I'm just glad you didn't do that. Because with Charles Manson's cult in there, I said this is going to be the time that he would do it.
It would have been appropriate.
It would have been appropriate
because Charles Manson was trying to start a race war.
Yeah.
So because that being the case, I'd be like, all right, if I was ever going to give you that pass, it would be now.
Yeah, except
as long as you don't abuse it.
Yeah, except that he's hardly in the movie.
Yes,
that guy. And I even think that guy had to go to another set to play Charles Manson in another movie. Seriously, because he's playing Charles Manson in another film. I think.
Right. Okay.
TV series Mindhunter.
Mindhunter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did. Okay.
What's that guy's name?
It's Damon something.
Okay, Damon something.
Okay. That's funny. He's passing through to go. See you guys. I got my curtain call coming up over here.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino
on lot 6.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino's like, hey you, hey, you want to play Charles Manson? Okay, come here. He was very. I tell you what, he was very good.
Yeah.
Very good as Charles Manson, man. The casting in this movie is a lot of great performances in here.
Yeah, there's plenty of good casting here. There's also some that I thought was just downright bad in as much as it was just super distracting.
Yeah. Another thing. I'm gonna let you carry this. I just want to say this before I forget. The feet is strong. That foot fetish is up in there, man. Tarantino just fully embraced his foot fetish, man. Put it out there for the world to see. There are scenes in the movie where a character will put their foot up right in front of the screen. You almost like, man, move.
Yeah, I know they're blocking the screen.
Yeah.
It's funny because on my row, sitting next to me with 3 black women who were out for a girls' night and drinking. So I was like, all right, they're gonna be talking through this whole goddamn thing, and it kind of were.
Yeah.
But not so much to ruin it.
Yeah.
But whenever those feet came on, they were just like, ew.
That nasty.
Yeah. And when the girl showed her armpit, oh my God, I thought they're gonna lose it.
Girl, shave your arms. And don't care, he put dirty ass feet
Dirty
up there. Dirty.
I bet that's how he likes them. I mean, you think about it. If you're a foot fetishist, a hippie girl wearing sandals, walking around all day long, and then taking them off and sticking them in your face, that has to be the dream.
Oh boy, it adds flavor.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, some of it. He did. It's weird because throwing in celebrity casting like he does, because he's got that kind of juice where he can do that. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes I find it distracting when you have a pretty big name celebrity playing someone who's almost an extra or a walk on.
Like
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
I got it. His was fine because he had plenty of lines, and he's sort of the catalyst to kick the plot off. But one in particular that just bothered me was Damian Lewis as Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
Because he looks nothing like Steve McQueen. Only thing he had like Steve McQueen is that they put some product in his hair and had him wear the tight white pants. And it's for a scene that's so like, I was like, man, if this movie being almost 3 hours, I would have cut that shit.
I saw Damian Lewis as Steve McQueen. But I think the problem was, as you can see right there, that's Damian Lewis and that's Steve McQueen. I thought that was perfect casting. I think what happened in the movie is that, one, it's in the dark. Two, it's very short. And three, they put like this big perm on his head.
Yeah.
And you're used to seeing Steve McQueen with hair like that.
Right.
Yeah, and because I thought, before I even saw anything, I thought Damian Lewis was going to be perfect. And then I saw him in the movie and I was like, how'd you that up? It looks nothing like Steve McQueen.
Well, yeah, I mean, right there, they found two pictures where they do look very similar. Well, the lighting and the black and white and all. But most of the time, I look at Damian Lewis and I'm like, well, he's got a really long, thin head. It does look like
I could still see it, I mean, and like I'm looking at it right here, like I can see it, and his role is so short in the movie.
It is. It's tiny.
It didn't really, because you can only go so far with a lookalike. You have to kind of go with the performance too, and it just wasn't enough there for his performance.
Well, and that's the thing. There's not enough there. Like, had he had more to do, he might have brought it to life. We've seen plenty of movies where you have an actor who looks nothing like the subject they're playing.
Yeah.
But they bring that spirit of them to life where you totally buy it.
But I think it's just it with him trying to, the movie's more of these nods to his love of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Instead of telling his story.
Well, and as much as we start out saying, well, it's not Kill Bill, but it kind of is, because it's all about his fetishes with those kind of movies with that time period, to the point where we're not getting a good story out of this.
Yeah,
it's a collection of his subconscious and, oh, I really like this, or I really think this is cool, oh, I love this, or I want to put this in there. But when it's all said and done, it's like, well, man, when I just look at this and string it all together, because you start the movie off and everything looks great, and this actor's and all this, and you're trying to get it together. But there was a point, a little bit over an hour in it, where I had to I kind of pulled back, and I was like, this thing really has no momentum. I don't really know where this is leading. I don't have a sense of it leading somewhere. And so many of these characters he's set up, it's an hour later, and I don't know them any better than I did in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I tell you, man, I can get with the structure, because this is almost like Pulp Fiction in a way, where everything is not, nothing is going in a straight line. Nothing is going in straight order. This is kind of that way. It has a structure like Pulp Fiction without bringing attention to the gimmick. It really comes down to, you have three characters, a day in the life of three characters, and how everything will come together for them at the end of the story. Because you have Rick Dalton doing his big day on a set that he doesn't want to blow, playing a role in this Western. And it's something that he's not even really interested in. You see how that works out for him. Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, who, he's doing errands at home at the request of his boss and friend, but you get to see the crazy day that he's having. And then you have Sharon Tate, who goes to a movie.
Man, the whole Sharon Tate thing, for all that cast in Margot Robbie, and everybody's like, oh man, she's perfect, and getting the costumes down. Yeah, all she does is go to a movie theater. I mean, she is so underdeveloped, it's criminal. And And he does a weird thing where she goes to see herself in a movie, but they play actual footage of Sharon Tate and her watching it like she's supposed to be watching herself, but it's clearly not her. So I'm like, I don't know what the...
Again, that is the problem. I don't mind. Look, I'm all against going against convention. You know me. I'm different with you in that way. It's like I want to see people experiment. I want to see people do.
Yes.
I don't want to see people follow the same thing that I see week after week.
I'm with you.
But I think with this, I don't mind it if it's lending itself to something, whether it be story, or character, or meaning.
Yeah.
Or, there's a message, even if it's obscure. But that's not what's happening here. This movie's choppy is in chunks because it is Quentin Tarantino stopping here and there to show you how much he loves these obscure things in film and television. The whole thing with Sharon Tate, is it really about her going into watch herself be in a movie, or is it her going into a movie so that he can show you this The Wrecking Crew, this old movie that Dean Martin was, an old spy movie.
Yeah,
also show a trailer from some weird film that of course, no one's heard before, man. But you know what I'm saying? The movie's choppy to show you, again, one of the biggest problems. I know these things about movies and I love them and I want to show them with you.
Yeah, man, I catch the references. I know these things too, but I know that doesn't make a film.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, he's 1969. I'm 4 years old at the time, and he's playing stuff that I remember from childhood that I forgot. So, especially the westerns and the music and everything. So I dig that, but it's not enough for me to go like, keep that going. I'm like, it's cool. Put it in there, wrap it around a good story. Did you happen to notice how maybe a fourth, that could be an exaggeration, but a fifth of this movie is somebody driving around with the radio cranked up
because he wants to again play music.
Yeah, like they'll drive around for 2 or 3 songs sometimes.
Yeah, the music is everything in this movie is kind of kitsch put on display that he loves. To a point where he even wants to show you the kitsch of just the landscape of Hollywood at that time. There are a lot of crane shots in this movie.
Yeah,
a lot of crane shots where he's showing you, a lot of crane shots where he wants to show you the Hollywood Hills, but also all the neon signs, the retro neo signs at the time. He wants to spend that time showing you, what the Hollywood Hills looked like for celebrities at that time. A lot of crane shots, man, and it's also a time for him to why people ripped him off during that period where people were ripping him off. Everybody wanted to find this obscure song from the 70s, 60s, 50s, and he's doing that. That's why people ride around so you can hear some 60s ditty that you hadn't never heard before, or you hadn't heard in a long time.
Man.
Yeah. So he can play you his goddamn Spotify list. It's not like I'm complaining about the whole thing. There's a lot of stuff in here, in between, just as standalone scenes. They're great, man.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great standalone scenes in this. That whole scene with Bruce Lee and Cliff Booth. That scene, and look up the guy who plays Bruce Lee. Can you? What's his name? Mike Moe. This guy's amazing.
My hands are registered as lethal weapons. We get into a fight, I accidentally kill you. I go to jail.
Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter.
Fights, choreography in that is great. Doesn't go long. It's a funny scene, too. It's a scene where you're rooting characters on.
Yeah.
And this guy that plays Bruce Lee, Mike Moe, this guy, he just needs to, he needs to write a movie about Bruce Lee so he can star in it.
I'm pretty sure he's done that.
He probably
I'm sure he's written it. Just waiting for somebody to finance it.
And the thing about him I like is that, he's not, even in this movie, he's an exaggerated Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Because everything he says is followed with that pose. I will have to kill you. I love when he did that.
As funny goes, as I was listening to him, I was like, his English is actually a little too good.
Too good, yeah. Yeah, man. I love the look of this film.
Of course.
I think this movie is it's an incredible looking film, man.
You could say that about almost every one of his films.
Yeah. No, this whole thing where, see if I can find this here. This whole thing where he went to he's kind of, you could tell that he's really proud of this too. I'm not saying it, I'm not even saying it's to a fault, but You know, I'm looking at some of the stuff that he went through to change. Like, you know, I know there's parts of Hollywood that he went in and recreated to look like that period. And you know, I can see why he's proud of that. Because this movie looks amazing. Whatever he's done here to, you know, at least from a cinematography angle and recreating this period, it's awesome, man. And it's a great looking film. If there was any reason I'd want to see this again, it's for that right there, for the performances of Leo and Brad Pitt and for the look of the film.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's something where it looks great, and there's great little pieces along.
Yeah.
I can also say something that I didn't care for. Besides there being, you know, practically no black people in it. Considering what they do with Sharon Tate, there's no strong female characters in here at all.
Well, that was a shame what they did with Sharon Tate, man. It was there was so much talk about how Sharon Tate and Margot Robbie is great, and what little part that she has. And there are moments where she really does look like Sharon Tate. You're right, though. I don't know why. You know, she went and looked at herself. Yeah. I guess they just ran out of budget and they said, "No, Quentin, you are not recreating these scenes.
Right.
You better put that
we
shit
can't
on."
digitally put her in there.
No.
I don't know. No,
hell no. They just don't do a lot with her.
Yeah.
If anything, she's just a setup for later events. It's like, oh, yeah, look who's here.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Right.
I'm like, okay, it would have been cool had you done more with that, you know.
Yeah, and if you're somebody young who really doesn't know, like if you might be somebody who only knows Charles Manson, you know the name, and he was a killer, you know, serial killer, and no details about how it went down or who was there. A lot of that's gonna mean nothing to you.
You know, there's some brilliant scenes in here. There's one scene where Brad Pitt is about to have a standoff with cult members, man, and I'm not gonna tell you what happens, but it's, you know,
it's tense.
It's that moment in Glorious Bastards where you have in the bunker.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Christoph
Magneto.
Waltz. Oh,
at the beginning of the movies.
Yeah, I was thinking more of that.
Yeah, you know, in a lot of movies, Quentin Tarantino was able to stop the film for a very intense scene, and there's a scene like that in this movie, man. So it's some really amazing stuff. Quentin Tarantino is an amazing director, man. But so that's why I wouldn't mind all of that, because I think that for a while I was looking at it, I was like, wow, this really is like this man has grown up.
Yeah,
you know, because I wouldn't mind any of that, because I'm looking at it like, you know, again, because I admire if something's not following convention, man. But by the end of this film, it doesn't feel like it's even the same movie. 10 minutes before the movie ends, Tarantino loses his fucking mind. He's almost like he says, "Man, I just gotta kill something, man." You know, and the movie goes off to where it doesn't even feel like it's so over the top and it is so unnecessarily violent.
It's cartoonish, and the thing is, I like you. I was like, oh, he's matured. Hey, you know, it's got some problems, but hey, he's telling an adult story, and I'm okay with that. And it was as if it was like Tom Green with his hair slicked back, and he just had to pull off that tuxedo and start blowing farts in the air. And the thing is, I felt stupid because I was like, wait, it's not like he hasn't done this before with some of his other movies, and Glorious Bastards and some of the others. And I was like, and you know, there's a big clue in the title, and did not catch it till the very end. But I was like, man, had I known you were going to do this, I would have got up and left before we got to this part. I would have walked out with a decent memory of this thing.
It's actually a well-constructed scene until it just goes way over the top. And it's almost like Tarantino was just sitting up just fidgeting the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I need some blood, man.
But you know, I think it's going to be the most polarizing thing, because I think there'll be plenty of people who just love it for what it is. To me, it's a betrayal of everything I've seen up to that point.
I heard somebody saying, I hate when somebody says, I read something where somebody said, man, if you don't like what happens in this movie, then you just can't sit back and enjoy movies. How fucking broad is that? Shut the fuck up. You know, this is because that means nothing.
No.
You know, so I can't criticize this, because my thing is with the movie at the end, it's not because it just goes completely over the top. One, it just doesn't fit the tone of everything he set up before. And the other thing is that it's like Tarantino making a parody of himself. You know, what you see right here at the beginning where he's doing this, this is what that's him spoofing himself almost.
Right.
And then he does it for real at the end of the film. And I would say it would be better, maybe it'd be slightly better if he had done it for the whole movie, been that crazy. But then again, the movie wouldn't even be that good because I think the ending is so goofy, it's badly directed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's directed well at all. I just think and it doesn't ruin the movie for me what happened at the end. It's just something where it's like, wow, man, I don't care how brief it is. That's a really bad part in what was parts great, maybe not completely, but it's like, man, I got your vision with this. Maybe I don't agree with it completely, but I got it. But this shit right here,
it has that feeling of somebody who made a mature movie that just ends like, hey, it just kind of. Everybody goes their separate ways, and it's not a big bombastic ending. And they couldn't let it go. They're like, I don't know how to end this, so I'm gonna just blow everything up.
What it felt like? It felt like a kid finally giving his first mature speech, and he's reading it to the audience, and everybody's like, oh, that kid is good.
I judged him wrong.
Yeah, this kid's growing up. Look, and at the end, he's like, the end. Pull his pants down. You motherfucker.
Get him out of here.
Son, come here. Brilliant director. Amazing director. Amazing looking film. But the story, whatever there is there needs something to be desired, at least for me. And like I said, that ending really tore it down for me. I'll give it a matinee.
Quentin Tarantino, he never stopped being a great filmmaker, but he stopped being a good storyteller a long time ago. And this movie is just no exception. It's just it's flawed. It's flawed in ways that it didn't need to be. It's just baffling how there was not a better cohesive overall vision, and that it would go out the way it did. It's really too bad. But I'm right there with you. It's an unenthusiastic matinee.
Okay. So not bad.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that's good is really good, and I mean, so much of it is just Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Because there were times when they weren't on screen, and I was kind of like, shit, those dudes coming back. Just either one. I'll take either one of them solo.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button. Hey, get notifications from us. You don't want to miss us. We love you so much. You love me. Let's never part. In fact, get more of us over at our main site, doubletoasted.com. Over there, what are you going to find? Well, you're going to find the long version of this video right here. Uncensored, unedited. You get pure, unadulterated, double toasted, unadulterated Corey Coleman. And you also get the live streams that we do almost every night of the week. Support us at dtmerch.com. And remember, if nothing else, stay toasted.